Oh man, it has been a week.
No shit.
I had a date night last night. Went really well. Ordered her sushi. Was gonna get myself some sushi, but the sushi place closed, and ended up making like an Asian noodle bowl out of leftovers.
Nice.
Which is actually it's really good, but she doesn't. My girlfriend doesn't eat like real sushi, and so she had like teriyaki chicken, cooked hopefully.
Yeah.
Just raw chicken on the, and then but one of the rolls that I got for it was a pumpkin spice roll. So like the middle of it was the rice, and then it had like, I guess, pumpkin. I mean, it looked fantastic. I mean, that's so removed, like it would probably offend Japanese
like a dessert
people.
almost.
Yeah, but it looked fantastic. Anyway, so we were up all night my time. I didn't get to bed until 10 o'clock this morning.
Wow.
No.
So I slept till like 3. But that's, it's easy for me because, I'm a freelancer, so nobody noticed except for maybe the server that I wasn't around. Anyway, so that was my... I'm exhausted right now. But anyway, welcome to VM Live. I'm your host, Jack Rollins, and with me, as always, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Jeffrey Hoffman.
Hi, guys. Good to see you again.
We need to come up with some sort of an intro for you. Yeah.
I know. You have such a good story and voice, and I'm like, what's up, dudes?
Yeah. I'm waiting for your voice to crack one of these times, like when you say hello.
Hello. Hey.
Perfect.
So
we also have Admin Bob here. What's going on, Admin Bob?
Been a long week.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Okay. Well, I kind of want to hear about that later if we can. And we have our producer, Evan, behind the glass. Evan, dude, it's been a second. I mean...
Yeah.
Been a little bit, yeah, but I'm back.
Yes, you were pretty busy and dealing with some stuff during the break, and then Adro's not here. He just had a bunch of work stuff he needed to catch up on. He said that he took his daughters yesterday to like a some sort of a light festival or something.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that. Yeah.
Out in
see
Oakland.
pictures of that he posted.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I haven't checked. Because that's what you can do in California is you can go outside in the middle of January and go to a festival.
Gosh.
Whereas here it was the high today. I think the high today was 30, so it wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
But at one point last night, my girlfriend and I went out into like the back porch so we could talk because there were people. Well, I guess it was this morning because there were people, getting ready and stuff like that, and we just, privacy. And it was, she saw the
mist off of your
mist
breath.
coming off of me, and and it was like 14 degrees out, and she's in Australia, so the concept of 14, which is like negative, I don't know, something over there Celsius. She they don't understand. Like the lowest she's ever experienced would probably be about 40. And I'm like, in Ohio, 40 in the winter is okay. I'm wearing shorts and a hoodie. Like this is warm weather, man. Yeah. I'm going golfing, But the other side of that is, they spent the last 2 weeks. She just got her AC fixed. They spent the last 2 weeks without air conditioning, and it's like 120 out. And I'm like, I would literally die. There's nothing I could do. But because she'll talk. We were talking about having her on at some point for like a fashion thing or something like that because she deals with that kind of stuff. And she would be giving me advice, and she's like, "Yeah, keep the jacket open, and kind of have that." And I'm like, "Sweetie, like we don't wear poofy jackets to like look good. We wear poofy jackets because our nostril hairs freeze, and until you've experienced that, like you don't know cold." But yeah, so they're lucky out there in Oakland. So I'm gonna go through and ask everybody how their week was. Besides that, my week was actually pretty non-eventful. I just worked. So Jeff, how are you? Anything interesting happened this week?
My week has been for the most part pretty middle of the road. I've had a couple good days this week. I had like some weird stuff pop up, but not really ready to talk about it. But and I've had a couple days where I find myself bopping around to music, cleaning dishes, and like I was just helping my daughter with homework and made my bed, and I'm like, I'm kind of in a good mood. Like this is kind of cool.
Isn't that weird when you find yourself in a good mood? You're like, am I?
I'm like,
wow, Jeff's in a good mood.
Yeah, something's gonna happen.
Yeah, you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like you're like, so what's gonna ruin this? You can't.
I'm like, I'm
just,
waiting for that text or that like mood or something, and like those things come along. But my week has been actually I've been pretty busy at work and just doing plant stuff. I nothing major to report for the most part.
Okay. There's a question that we've all been thinking about, especially this week. We've noticed, you're not being on the server as much and those kind of things, and it's been burning. At least I know that I've been, and it's important. What's going on with the aphids situation? Have you gotten rid?
Oh, I went the scorched earth approach. I could not get rid of them. I had them all over my plants. Got rid of the ones that had them, and then I had started new seeds, and then they were in the seeds, and I'm like, fuck this. I just yanked them. I filled up a trash bag completely full of like greens and seedlings, and it's a bit depressing when I have to do that, but my system is completely empty now, bone dry, just so I can air it out, get rid of the bugs.
I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts is Stuff You Should Know. And they were it was a double episode on ants. And seriously, I think you, especially Jeff, I think you'd really like the show, but, they were talking about aphids, and it kind of, I went, I kind of doubled down to listening on that because of that. And that's one of the ways you find out if you have an aphid situation is because there'll be a ton of ants on the plants. And the like gooey stuff that they leave out is called honeydew, and the ants apparently love that. And they will, it gets gross. The one guy was talking about how like they will basically hold on to the aphids and let the aphids eat, and then what happens after you're done eating, it just goes right into the ant's mouth because of the honeydew. They will like herd them to different places on the plant where there's more stuff for them to eat. If there's danger, like they'll protect them because they just love that honeydew so much. And it was
somebody had suggested I get ladybugs. They're like, well, just put some ladybugs down there and they'll get rid of the aphids. I'm like, but then I'll have a ladybug problem because I do it inside, so I don't have there's no ants on them. So there was nothing to keep them in check.
I don't know if it'd be a problem though. Like, I mean, if you're going to have a bug flying around your house, like a real ladybug, I mean, that's.
Yeah, it would be cool. But the one guy I talked to, he said he actually did that, and he said he had so many ladybugs like all over the house. I'm like, I don't do that. So now I just got PVC and a dry system. Okay. Ready for. I'm gonna start some seeds this weekend though.
Nice. All right, cool. I sent you a TikTok of this cactus that you can buy on. You can buy it like at Walmart, and I had no idea. Yeah, I can't remember the name of it, but it's some standard cactus that looks just like a regular cactus. It's completely legal to buy if you're only doing it for ornamental purposes. But apparently it's mescaline, and apparently like you just cut it and eat it, and boom. So I mean, like it's not like poppy seeds where you have to then like turn them into things. Yeah, like you literally just eat it raw. Apparently, I haven't looked into it too much, but you eat it raw and boom. And it's just crazy to think that you, like a kid, could just go to Walmart. Because if I was 15 and I heard that, I'd be like on Amazon immediately trying to get like 10 of these things.
Like going to that section in Walmart and seeing everything full except for that section. Like, oh, okay, that got out.
Yeah. Man, we're selling out of cactus. Yeah, cacti.
The price is jacked up.
Nobody at Walmart would know. They'd be like, damn, we got to order more of those things. We're out of them.
That's true. Yeah, I worked at Walmart. I was a cart pusher. They called us stockmen, but it was a cart pusher. And that's where you find out how terrible people are, just as human beings. With leaving their carts and because nobody goes to Walmart on their best behavior. There's no.
No. And the parking lot's got to be the worst part of it.
It's, oh my gosh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, people just throw their carts into other cars for no reason. You know what I mean? Although that reminds me, one time I went to a different Walmart with my older sister, and she left her cart, you know, like next to her car or whatever like that. And, you know, I was about to call her out on it, and she starts to back out, and I don't know if it hit something, but the cart started to move towards her car. And then as she's backing out, it's just slowly scratching the side of her car. And I'm like, karma.
Like a little bit of karma.
Yeah. But yeah, they would take them over because there was a Walmart and then there was a Lowe's, and they would take the Walmart carts to Lowe's. And so at the end of every shift, we'd meet up with like the Lowe's people and switch carts because we'd have like their big, huge, you know, like the lumber cart. Like they would walk into Walmart with that thing.
Oh, jeez.
You know, because they were too lazy to carry a TV or ask me to carry the TV because I was the one who did that stuff, you know. And that was another fun thing, especially during Black Friday when someone would have like a 60, 75-inch TV and a Prius, you know, and then I need you to squeeze it in there. And it's like, bro, it ain't going in.
I'm not gonna work.
Okay, so Jeff, you've had a pretty middle of the road week. What about you, Bob?
My week has been, I don't know, an interesting mix of just really busy and readjusting because my daughter was home for Christmas, transferred colleges, but she was home, was her like 3 weeks. And she went back. Move-in day at the new college was Sunday, and so this was her first week. It was kind of me readjusting to empty house again after having adjusted to having her in the house again. And then work, everybody at work has COVID and has been out all week except moi. So I've been the only one in the office. I mean, people can work from home, but like we got to go check the mail, and the mail has to be monitored and scanned in and stuff. And so I've been just kind of running around helping with stuff like that. And it's been weird too, because there's nobody there. So you walk around the office and it's just quiet and empty, and there's no
How many people are we talking about? Like,
no, not a lot. But I mean,
people?
still, let's see.
Same thing.
1, 2,
38.
6.
No.
Okay, but still.
Like 6 people.
Oh. Is it weird? I used to actually love going in when I was at the radio station, because I've never worked in an office in my life. When I'd go in and nobody was there, I loved that. You know, it just felt like does it feel weird working at the office with like nobody around?
It's like the first day was kind of cool. Like you said, it was like, oh, hey, you know, I'm all alone and I can run around the building and do what I want when I'm not busy. But by like second, third day, it was kind of like, okay, there's like nobody here and this is boring.
Yeah. I could see that being, because at least at home, there are distractions and, you know, comforts, and you can just wear your pajamas or whatever. And, you know, there's more to it. But like, yeah, I imagine like there's like you still have to kind of dress appropriately and that kind of stuff if you're in the office and you're just sitting there like, well, this is just, I mean, yeah. It's not like you can just
imagine
pull
walking into the office and like changing back into your pajamas and like walking around without you.
So it kind of made the week drag too, because like yesterday I was like, oh my God, it's only Thursday. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I imagine it made conversations around the water cooler a lot less interesting.
So I didn't know how to respond to myself sometimes.
Right. Yeah. When you'd ask yourself if you saw that, you'd be like, well, yeah, I did, because I'm me. What about you, Evan? How have you been? It's been a couple of weeks since we've heard from you on the show.
This was my first full week at work since the week before Thanksgiving. So
oh my gosh,
it was
wow.
5 days. I forget how hard that is. My goodness. I was over it by Thursday morning. But no, it's good to, you know, it's good to be back. It's good to have a routine and some predictability to my life. So yeah, Yeah, feeling better too. I had COVID. It tested positive on New Year's Day.
Oh,
So that was
Way to
pleasant.
bring in the New Year.
I know. I know. So mild, pretty mild though.
Okay, good.
So,
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can only go up. I mean, if you start the year with COVID, then over in Australia, there, I was, because I'm paying attention to the news because I'm trying to get over there and that kind of stuff. And the prime minister does talks. It seems like every day he does like a press conference. And apparently over there, there was a thing where people were like purposely having COVID parties, thinking that you'd only get it once, and he's like, and to hear a government official with, an Australian accent, and, yes, they're pretty laid back, but there's still a little bit of that British kind of twang in there, to hear them like tell people to not do that, like, that's stupid, guys, you can get it again. Why are you, to hear him have to announce it to the country is hysterical. My girlfriend was talking about doing that because of the way they're staggering the schools. So there's only a couple of people that go into work every time. And so they're like, well, let's all get COVID so we can just take the week off, and then start fresh. But that's different. They're trying to hack the system, not hack the disease. And I'm like, I support that entirely. But have you guys heard about, I don't remember his name right now. It's Novak or something like that, the tennis player. Because the Australian Open is happening or going to be happening soon, and he didn't get his shots, and that was like the prerequisite to you playing, and somehow he apparently thought or whatever had a medical exemption, because medical exemptions, that's like a thing for people who are world-class athletes, because he's like the #1 tennis player in the world. And apparently something screwed up, and he ended up, like, they revoked his visa, and then they put him in like a hotel, and his parents are making it sound like he's in like the gulag, and he's in a hotel.
Right.
And the upside of that is then other people because there are people that, like, Australia closed its borders to refugees during a major part of like the Iraq War and that kind of stuff. And there were people that were like already there or already on their way there when this happened, and they've been like locked up in these hotels. There was one, his kid went over there when he was like 8, 9, and he's been there for 8 years or something like that. So he's like, I grew up. He can't go into Australia. He can't go back home, and then so this tennis player's parents are like, this is terrible that our son, and meanwhile this other guy's like, what about me, so it is raising some kind of, it's shining a light on some of that stuff, which is good. But yeah, Beck and I mean, like, I don't, on a personal level, I don't care if you want to get the shot or if you don't want to get the shot. By now you're not going to get it. Like, it is what it is. I don't personally agree with that, but you have the right, whatever. But like, it's the rule, that's how you get in. If you want to do it, that's how you do it. And I hope they don't let him in, partially because if they do, it'll make a mockery out of all the people that are trying to get in and can't. I've followed the rules. I'm triple dosed, and I don't know if I would have been. I'm sure I probably would have just gotten the shot, but I don't know about the boosters. I wouldn't have been as like the day I could get the booster, I got the booster, because of that stuff.
Because that's a prerequisite to enter the country.
Yeah, they want you, and I knew that was going to be something that came up, so, I'm getting it. There's no questions about it. That's what I have to do. But I've followed the rules. I've done what you're supposed to do, and she and I are, while it's terrible for us, in the grand scheme of things, it's not as bad as what other people have had to deal with. I'm in some of these Facebook groups for people in similar situations, and there are like married couples. So not married online, because there's this thing called a Utah wedding, of course, where you can get married and it's a legal wedding and neither of you have to be there. I don't know why it's a thing, but it's a legal thing, and you get married on Zoom, you sign the paperwork, and it's, those people exist. But like, these are people who are real married. One of them had to leave for a job or for helping family or whatever, who haven't met their kids, you know, who have had family members die, you know, and haven't been able to say goodbye and those kind of things. And they're following the rules and they're doing what they're supposed to do, and they're still not allowed to get in. So I hope that they don't let this guy in, because if they do, it's just making a mockery out of all of those things. And she and I were talking about that, and it's just so frustrating with this. And then just like in life, you know, when like you follow the rules, you try to do what you're supposed to do, and other people just skate by because that's just the way it is, you know?
That's very frustrating.
Yeah. All right, we're going to go to break. We'll be right back. And we are back. So this month, January, kind of one of our themes here on the server kind of aligns with just general theme of January, which is usually New Year's resolutions and focusing on the things that you could be doing better. And we're doing a couple of things throughout the month on the server to kind of discuss those things and suss some of that stuff out. For a long time, I was kind of an anti-New Year's resolutions person. I felt like it was kind of bullshit, the whole thing. Because, like, the concept of the year and that kind of stuff is all kind of made up. You know what I mean? So this idea that, like, I don't feel any different. Back in the day, I felt different between December 31st and January 1st because I was feeling really good on December 31st and I was hungover on January 1st. But besides that, you know, it's like same with birthdays. You know, you don't feel different. You're still
all right. Just another day.
So I thought it was kind of dumb, but then as I got older and started, you know, working more in the mental health fields and that kind of stuff, I kind of changed my viewpoint. Which don't tell anybody about that, because if you change your mind on the internet, you lose all credibility.
You're all done.
Nobody's allowed to learn. You have your original talking point, and that's it. But I, you know, it's every year, every 6 months, it's good to kind of reassess things, you know, to kind of look at things that you could be doing better, personally, you know, physically, health, whatever like that. So today we're going to kind of discuss what we're looking at individually to change resolutions, whatever, for New Year's. Mine's pretty easy. On paper anyway. And that's, you know, I got to get control of my health. I'm not happy with my weight. I've always struggled with it. I've had a bad relationship with my weight, stretching back to my days in sports. You know, wrestling, for all the good things that it did. You know, it's probably, I hope it's better now, but when I was doing it, you know, it was still very much, no matter what weight class you're in, you need to be in a weight class lower. You know, so you're pushing sometimes as young as 8, 9, 10. I mean, I hope you're not doing that to a 6-year-old. And watching the little 6-year-olds wrestle was adorable because they're, you know, just. But I mean, no matter what would happen, I needed to lose weight, and I was pretty jacked, you know. So I mean, like, I wasn't fat, and they were like, "You got to cut weight." I mean, I was in really good shape, and I was at that point where, you know, I would gain weight. I'd work out and I'd gain weight. I'd gain muscle, you know, which you'd think would be like a good thing, but it was always kind of beat into us to you gotta cut weight. So things like sauna suits, which they should be illegal to sell those.
It just like takes your water weight.
Yeah,
right.
And we couldn't afford those. / my mom's not gonna be like, yeah, buy a sauna suit for my 10-year-old. Like, that's insane. So we'd sleep in trash bags, plastic trash bags. It gives you the same, you know.
You'd sleep in them.
Yeah, that's how you do it, to draw it out over time. We'd have...
it sounds really bad.
You know, chewing gum before weigh-ins helps to... And you'd see wrestlers, boxers and stuff would do this. They'd be walking around with the cup, chewing gum, and just... Because it produces spit, and you're just spitting out, we became experts in dehydrating ourselves. Like, it's terrible.
I remember watching guys do that in high school.
Yeah. And so I always had kind of, and then on top of that, because of all the athletics, like, I needed to bring in a ton of food. Because I was doing so much stuff, that 2,000 calorie kind of diet ain't working, and then you stop and, you're still eating that much. So I've had, and then at the end of the marriage and the depression and then the drinking and those kind of things, like, things got out of hand. And so I'm really working on it this year, and I'm, focusing, I'm using Huel. And I kind of want to reach out to him. Would you guys be interested? I don't know if anybody else is, but would you guys be interested in Huel or something like that? Do you guys know what it is?
It's a protein. It's a meal supplement or something.
Yeah, it's like a meal supplement. And it tastes like all of them. Let's be honest. Like, they all taste the same. They make an unflavored one, which is the way to go. Because I got real, because I bought a 2-set one time, and the one flavor was like mocha latte or something like that, and I'm like, whatever, I don't care. I think they sent me the wrong one, and I'm like, I'll just it'll be fine. And that was a rough one to get through every day, because I'm like a black coffee drinker, and I don't do that kind of, but I was looking into reaching out to them and just being like, hey, do you guys want to send us a bunch of free meal supplements?
Yeah, I would try it. Try it.
But I'll look into that. So I've been doing that for usually breakfast, at least breakfast, which I noticed this helped me out because I'm not a breakfast person. So lunch is usually like, I'm really hungry by the time lunch happens, and that's where I get dangerous. So forcing myself to put that down at breakfast has helped me have a lighter lunch and a lighter dinner. And just other than that, little things, like, I haven't had any alcohol except for a glass of wine last night. Not that I have a problem with drinking, but it's just, I think we were talking about it either privately or on the show last week, like the calories in like a glass of whiskey. It's insane.
Yeah. It adds up so quick.
Yeah. I'm not pouring whatever I don't know what the, fish, probably 2 ounces. I'm not pouring 2 ounces. You know what I mean? Like, no, I'm filling the glass up with ice, filling the cup up with, like that. I'm not going to, less trips. So and then drinking a ton of water. So I've noticed that I've had some hunger pangs, and like, I'm hungry now, and I'm getting used to the fact that, like, being hungry doesn't mean I'm starving. But people have commented that my jawline looks better, and apparently my skin looks clearer, and I'm questioning why they're looking at my jawline and my skin so closely to begin with. But so that's my easy resolution as far as on paper, is to just get that shit under control, so that way when I'm finally able to get into Australia, besides the fact that I want to live a happy, healthy life and all that crap, I want to look good. There's one of the sounds on TikTok is people working out, and it's like, why do you work out? They keep asking, and the guy's like, because I want to look good when I have sex. Like, so I mean, like, and I think it's vain, but I think there is an element of that to why we work out. You know what I mean? Because when you're at the gym or whatever, and you're doing bicep curls, there is that little, like, when you do that little side thing and you go, there they are, man. And you see that muscle just squeeze. Yeah. It's like, yep. Yeah. So
I always think it's funny when somebody finishes a set and they kind of, like, you can see them kind of looking in the mirror to kind of, like, get, and you just see like a dozen guys just, like, kind of just checking themselves out. Just subtly in the mirror.
It's so weird because they're like sizing themselves up because they're acting tough, so it looks like they're kind of getting up ready to like, can I take this guy? I back at my old gym, there were these guys, the sweetest guys in the world. I mean, but they were like 6'5", 6'6", and their upper bodies were just Greek. Well, not even Greek god, like big Hulk, But they clearly skipped leg day for 25 years, and it was so funny because they just had these tiny little legs, and it was like, okay, if it was an arm wrestling match, these guys got me, but if it's a fight, I'm kicking him in the knee and he's toppling over, But I'm looking at joining a gym, but right now I'm focusing on some bodyweight stuff and resistance bands, and then I have the sandbags, which if you guys want a cheap way to destroy your body, it is fantastic.
Amazing. What do you do with them? You just toss them around, carry them?
That's one of the easiest things to do. I mean, you can just buy sand because you can get like the tubes, but like I actually bought like a bag, and it looks like a duffel bag, and it has a bunch of handles. And then you put the sand inside a bag inside that so it doesn't leak all over the place. And also so you can kind of mix stuff up and add and subtract weight or whatever. And then you go spend $3 on 60 pounds of sand or whatever and just throw it in. Walking around is crazy. Just throw it over your shoulder, like that right there just adds, 60 pounds. Right now I'm at 90.
Just imagine going for 90 pounds.
Yeah, just right on your.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, if you carry it,
I mean, it's doable. I mean, you're not. I'm not going for a 5-mile hike. But then a lot of the same exercises that you do with weights, you can do with these. So you can do the bicep curls, and you can do those. You can do power cleans and those kind of things with it. It's different. It feels more like if you were trying to lift a person. Because like people, the weight shifts and it kind of moves and it's unstable, So they tell you go lighter than what you normally lift because when you try to flip this thing around, it's going to be a lot. Plus, it's 90 pounds flipping right into your face, which can be kind of scary. But so I've been doing that a lot, and that takes up no room, and it cost $60, I think, to get all the stuff for that. And you could go even lighter because the way we used to do it. Like Rocky style, is you'd buy a bag of sand and then just wrap it in duct tape so the sand wouldn't come out. And you had no handles, you had nothing, which is crazy for grip strength, and you just had to pick that thing up. So that's been really nice. So that's it, I guess, for my physical resolutions. Mentally, I'm just trying to check in with myself more, and kind of question things a little bit more of why I'm, noticing, I was really snappy there. Like, why is that? And kind of trying to pay attention to how other people see me a little bit more, because I know I have the full story, but if I'm arguing with you, Evan, you only have what comes out. And if it comes out and I'm being a total dick, it doesn't matter what I was thinking. If I'm a jerk to you, I'm a jerk to you, So, I'm trying to pay more attention to that because sometimes I forget how I can sound. And thank you all for not like immediately jumping in and disagreeing with me. You're like,
we're all messaging on the side. Yeah. We're all like, we see us all looking at our phones like, dude, he
took forever.
He doesn't even know he does that.
No idea. He's doing it right now.
Oh my gosh. Can you see the chat? Because I
what chat? All right, we got 5 minutes until the break. Who wants to go next? New Year's resolutions.
I'll go next. I wouldn't call it a resolution because like you, I don't know that I flick a switch on January 1st and I used to, I used to be like, all right, starting tomorrow, I'm going to behave differently. I guess I consider it more of a direction for myself this year that I want to prioritize myself more. I'm such a I tend to be afraid to rock the boat and be a people pleaser and be like, I just kind of like whatever you think is best, like you can make the choice and, or I'll even make a choice that would benefit somebody else before me, which we've talked about on a previous episode.
Once or twice.
Once or twice, yeah. Yeah. And it's hard. It's really unfamiliar to me to like choose, like, even buying clothes. I'm wearing a sweatshirt that I bought last week at H&M. And it's nothing fancy, but I never buy myself clothes. I never do anything. And to go and spend time and money on myself and be like, I think I'm going to do this for me. Because I deserve it. And those words leaving my mouth are like, it doesn't feel, I'm not used to that. So that's the direction I want to go this year is, making choices that prioritize myself.
Okay.
So I don't know if I'd call it a resolution, but more of like starting a few months ago, I started thinking about like, I got to change this.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm doing.
Yeah, I remember you talking a lot about boundaries, and I think that's part of it, you know, of making sure other people respect your boundaries once they are aware of them, you know.
And stating them and making people aware of them. I mean, because I got to do my part too.
Yeah, and it's crazy that you're at that point of being kind of so much of a people pleaser that like you buying a hoodie for yourself is notable. You know what I mean? We joke about the fact that you have like 3 Visible Man shirts and the same like 3 pairs of, I guess, cargo shorts or something in your closet, but 1 pair and then a suit.
Well, I think when he mentioned it in the server, I commented. I was like, "Wait, what? Jeff bought a hoodie?"
Right?
Yeah.
That didn't say Visible Man. And that's,
but it is. That's on the map now. Like me, you know, I bought a pair of Chucks. You guys got me the VM Chucks, and like that's a big deal. Like you know, even so, yeah. It's weird. It's like trying on a I don't know, trying out a jacket that you've never had before. Like, oh, this is new. It's just it's a feeling that I'm not used to.
Okay.
So yeah.
Well, you deserve it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks.
There's that song, the How You Like Me Now. Like you should just have that playing in the background, you know, all the time. Yeah. By the way, how are those Chucks comfortable? The off-brand, because we couldn't get the actual. Chuck Taylor would never let us do what we did. Okay.
No, they are. Yeah, okay. They're good. Yeah, I like them.
I haven't
wear
gotten
them
there
with my
yet,
VM shirt. And,
we need to get you some VM pants too, so that way you can have
like
head
the
to toe.
suit, like the whole,
like a velour tracksuit.
Oh,
Visible Man right across the backside.
Yes.
Oh my gosh! Just like,
I love this.
Just imagine the little saunter that I would have.
Oh my gosh! I can just see you walking around. Yeah, just walking around the store, like looking around. People are like, what the hell?
It's like, yeah, buddy. Yep. I'm here. They're like, who are you?
It's the coloring of the green and blue. People are like,
it's like
matchy today. Irish mobster or something. Yeah.
Green and blue. Yeah. Yep.
I like it, man. I like that. I think that there's you know, we all know you, so we know your tendency to kind of put other people first and not kind of have that kind of, for lack of a better phrase right now, like fuck you kind of mentality. And it doesn't have to be harsh or mean or rude or any of those kind of things, but it's there's you deserve, like Evan said, you deserve to, you know, treat yourself a little bit and see yourself as the fully formed individual you are. You have rights, you have needs, you have wants, you know, and
thank you.
You deserve to be able to explore those things and achieve those things. All right, so we're going to go to break real quick, and when we get back, we'll hear from Bob and Evan. Last week, I guess this week, Jeff and I tested out some new software that will allow us to live stream, and it'll also allow us to record everybody separately, and it looks similar to Zoom. It's really easy for you guys. It'll be nice, but it looks pretty similar, I guess, to Zoom. It also gives me automatic volume control of everybody. So if you're super loud, I could change it live. But so the quality in the actual thing looks, you know, it's fine at best. And then, but I downloaded everything afterwards, and Jeff was like crystal clear. I don't think I've ever seen his face like that. It was crystal clear. I mean, the audio is fantastic, and it'll allow us to stream to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, custom streams, LinkedIn. I didn't even know you could live stream on LinkedIn.
Because on a Friday night, I'm hanging out on LinkedIn.
Right? That's what I was thinking.
Refresh.
We post our stuff on LinkedIn, but only because you're supposed to. Yeah, we do.
We had a LinkedIn. I think that's why people use LinkedIn.
Yeah, it's the humble brag. That's all it's for.
I was at this conference.
Yeah.
No big deal.
I've never, ever once in my life read an article that somebody was like, oh, this is a really good one about marketing strategies in 2022. Like, some guy I went to high school with that works at a car dealership. It's like, all right, man, whatever, dude. But anyway, so we're doing some testing, and we got to get everybody kind of trained up on the new situation. But basically, that means I'm hoping by the end of probably February, we will be live streaming on video, audio, all that jazz. Through apparently all of them. I would do watch LinkedIn will be the one where we get the most viewers. You know what I mean? Because the target demographic, men's mental health. And frankly, if you're sitting around at 8:00 on a Friday night on LinkedIn, you might need it.
Yeah.
Job hunting because you're stressed out by your job, and there's the men's mental health podcast,
right? Telling you that it's okay, buddy. So Jeff and I went through our resolutions. Bob and Evan, it is your guys' turn.
Okay, I'll go. Okay. Kind of going off something that Jeff said, though, I know, when I was younger, high school, college, that was everybody talked about resolutions. And, it was kind of fun to oh, what's your New Year's resolution? Oh, my New Year's resolution is, I'm not going to eat as much candy this year or something like that. As I've gotten older, to me, resolutions don't ring true. Just because of that experience from being younger, that it was just something fun and hokey, oh, your New Year's resolution, what is it? But through the martial arts, we focused on goal setting. Okay. So that's what I now do for New Year's is I do it throughout the year, but at New Year's, I kind of reevaluate and say, okay, what are my goals for this year, this coming year? What are my goals? So this past New Year's weekend, that was the first thing I did was I sat around on Saturday and Sunday and kind of wrote down a list of what are the goals I want to accomplish this year.
That's awesome.
When do I want to try to accomplish them? And I'm still kind of adding to it. Some things even that you guys have talked about tonight. I'm oh yeah, that's something that's on my mind that I want to add to the list. One of the things for me I'm looking at is finances, kind of being more organized, more focused with how I'm doing my finances. I'm keeping better track of them. It's like having a budget, so to speak. I keep track of stuff, but not my mom used to be oh my God, she was to the penny. She had this budget and she could tell you, oh, I've got, $100 for groceries this week. And so, I don't know if I want to go that far, but
if you can't tell right now, Jeff is actually starting to get aroused because he's I have spreadsheets for you.
Yeah, I know.
Excel sheet. I will send them to you.
I've got templates and links. We can talk about this after the show.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, I'm open to a budgeting spreadsheet, Jeff.
Yeah. Okay.
There we go.
Yes.
Hey, if you want to post it, we can then post it as a Google Doc and put it in the on the website. So
it's a Friday night.
Just remember to erase your finances from it, Jeff, or else you're going to announce to everybody how broke you are.
Yeah.
So, and there's many things I've written down, and I posted it right on the wall across from my bed. So when I wake up in the morning, when I go to bed at night, awesome, I see it, kind of look at it. Some of them were very simple things that I've already accomplished. There was one credit card, don't use. It only had a $600 credit line of credit. And I was it's only $600. I don't use it anymore. I got it because of my daughter was a Victoria's Secret credit card. And she doesn't really go there anymore either. So I told her, I'm going to cancel this. She's fine. And that was on my list. And I looked at that. I'm all I got to do is call them. So I called one day and canceled it. So one thing off the list. But yeah, that's why I just make a list of goals. And as I get further and further into the year, I just start looking, I try to formulate how I'm going to approach these goals. All right, whatever. I've talked with you guys. One of my goals is to be working full time for Visible Man. So, but then I got to break that down. Okay, how do I accomplish that end goal? Because we have to raise funds for everybody, not just for me, but we have to raise funds in order for that to happen. So how do we accomplish this? So then part of that is sitting down with Jeff, talking with Jeff, okay, what can I do? What do you want me to do to help Visible Man become seen more and raise money. And we've had a couple of conversations. We've touched base a little bit, and I was looking at that and thinking about it last week. And that's when I texted him. I'm like, hey, send me some information. Let's get this going. I called him and left him a voicemail. So
if we get this thing funded, that actually could work out for a lot of things, because then Jeff could follow his goal or resolution of making sure you get paid first, Jeff, before anybody else, since you started it.
Yes.
And then I could use any money I get and not buy alcohol with it and buy healthy food instead. So yeah, like I like this. This is all working so far. This is
a win-win all around.
Yeah. I like the goal list. I mean, it sounds like almost like a vision board, but not as tacky.
I have that too.
I think vision boards are so tacky. Like I get it, but like I just, it looks to me like a serial killer. The way most of them look, it looks like serial killer stuff.
There's strings going to like locations.
Now that is a board. That's what I'm down with, where it's like the psychopath. Yeah, like the
the vision board was made like late last year, so that had nothing to do with my New Year's goal setting.
Okay.
Now I have a question. Did you do this? Have you done this in previous years, Bob?
Yeah, but not as dedicated as I was like this New Year's weekend. I'm sitting down and writing everything out New Year's weekend, and I hadn't been that gung ho about it before because I just, the last couple of years, as everybody knows, have been like whacked out crazy with COVID. And I don't know if this year's going to be any different, but I was like, okay, what do I want to do? And one of those things is focusing more on myself. My daughter's off to college. I deleted all the dating apps, so I just want to start getting to know me more. Yeah. I think I kind of started it late last year, but I want to focus on it more coming into this year. And I think I'd mentioned it to Jeff that like one day a week or every other week, I'm going to have like a self-date night. And whatever that is, me watching a movie I want to watch, me going to some new bar that I've never been to, have a self-date night and treat myself and do something for myself, and maybe even go out and meet people.
Okay.
That's awesome.
I like that. Really, are you going to wait till the third date? Do you know where that's going to be? Because we found out technically an orgy can be any amount of people. So
this is true.
I mean, that's just saying. No, I totally
bring the other hand into it.
Oh yeah, that's getting crazy, man. I like your viewpoint on it with the goal setting. I've done similar stuff to that. I think that's pretty interesting. And I think when you mentioned like I'm not going to eat as much candy and stuff, that reminds me, and it used to drive me nuts with Lent. You have, and it was fine when like you were a kid, you're like, I'm not going to eat Doritos for a month. And it's like, if you're 12 and you're told you can't have Doritos for a month, like that's terrible. That's hard. And the thing that always got me is like when adults then, because the newspaper around here is pretty religious, like they're and people will post what they're doing for Lent, and it'll be grown adults like, I'm not going to have popsicles for the month. And it just confuses me that it's like you're a grown adult and you're trying to tell me you can't have a popsicle for a month. Like there's a problem there. Or they'll sit there and they'll say, I'm just going to focus on being nicer or whatever. And that always drove me nuts too, because it's like the point of Lent is to like sacrifice, and being nicer shouldn't be a sacrifice. But yeah, that reminded me of that.
I think that was one of the basic tenets of Christianity.
I never put too much stock in the Lent thing, because the ex was always like, the ex was Catholic, and she was always like, I'm going to give up swearing for Lent. And 30 seconds later, that was shot.
She was like, fuck that. I would do, I still kind of, because it's a challenge, I like the challenge of it. And then I try not to do the meat on Friday, but then what'll end up happening is I'll be like knee deep in like a porterhouse and then go, shit, it's Friday. And it's like, you know what? God would want me to have the rest of this because a cow died, it was sacrificed for this. I'll not eat meat tomorrow, and then I forget about it. So it's kind of all right. So we've gotten through everybody but Evan. Evan, in the last couple minutes of the show, what's happening in 2022 for you?
Yeah, I think I started reflecting. I think I do this naturally towards the end of the year, what I want my next year to look like. And I don't call them resolutions either, but this year I kind of came up with this idea that I want to do less. just focus my energy and my time on things that I truly want to be doing for myself.
Okay.
And get rid of, because I do that. I make it a point to treat myself, to spend time alone. But I also do a lot of unnecessary things. So at the end of the day, I'm exhausted. So I'm looking to cut out the stuff that's not, it's wearing me down, that I don't even know why I'm doing in the first place.
Okay.
So,
Like what's an example of an unnecessary thing?
Oh, well,
VM Live.
social media and screen times. I missed that. What?
I said VM Live.
No. Although, it looked like that for a little while, but no.
No, you're
not. This is in the other bucket. This is something for me.
Yeah.
But no, social media and screen time is like one of the biggest.
Yeah.
And I want to read more. Like, I enjoyed books, but when I look at how many hours I spend on my phone every week, it's so I'm trying to be more mindful. I've set some time limits on my phone to help with that. And I am deliberately picking up a book when I'm reaching for my phone to like distract myself.
Okay.
So I'm going for a book instead.
Okay.
That's good. Good.
I like that. I with the phone stuff, they had that light phone that came out a couple of years ago, and then I think they've produced a couple other ones where it's I think they use e-ink, which is kind of cool, but like it doesn't have anything on it. It's just texting, calling, and then it was funny because people were requesting stuff, and it was like, I think you're defeating the purpose of this. But if it had like WhatsApp, I was looking at that because I'm somebody who like that's one of the reasons I don't wear my smartwatch, is to just like get away from the notifications. I'm like, I have to put the phone down. I have to put it elsewhere. But I like that. I like that kind of focusing. You and Jeff seem to be kind of sharing similar kind of setting up your boundaries and putting you first, at least, when it's okay to do so. And I really dig that. I think that there's a lot to be said about that. So I think 2022 is going to be a good year for all of us. I think we've had a lot to build on. We're not. It doesn't sound like anybody's going into anything with like ridiculous, lofty goals. I mean, I haven't seen Bob's list. You know what I mean? Because like if one of his goals is like take over the world, good luck. But yeah,
like, be in a relationship. So see where that goes.
Yeah, right. Right now, I've had the goal of getting into Australia for 2 years, so that's that's still on the list. But that's in like the maybe if I can kind of thing. But with VM itself, I have seen an upward trajectory with members and with discussions that aren't necessarily led by the moderators. There's people coming in and starting their own conversations and doing these things. Our listenership has gone up. Our viewership has gone up. We're going to start the live streaming. I mean, at the end of last year, we really kicked it up with the video. We're upgrading equipment. We're doing all these really good things. And I'm excited for what's going to happen with Visible Man this year, because I think this is going to be... We spent last year putting a lot of the building blocks, and the foundation in place for some of these kind of projects that we're doing, including the podcasts. And I think this will be the kind of the year to watch that stuff really take off. And once Bob and Jeff figure out how to get money, it's going to be awesome. And if anybody out there works at Huel, we will gladly do a Huel challenge. If you want to send us some powder. They have hot and ready meals too, which, I mean, they look kind of like MREs, but I heard they're pretty good. And you can also sponsor us too. We are open for sponsorships. I think we're working on a Patreon and all that kind of stuff too, aren't we, Jeff?
Yeah, it's all set up.
Oh, we should probably mention it. Hey, you could support us on Patreon by going to the link in our show notes. Not going to get anything extra now. We're going like PBS radio style or NPR radio style. If you appreciate the programming, whatever the minimum amount you can do on Patreon, we're totally fine with that. Go ahead and check out the link in the bio, or in the notes. I'm so used to Instagram. In the show notes, you'll also find the links to the YouTube version of this. You'll also get the links to our Instagram, our Twitter, our Facebook, and of course, visibleman.org. That's how you'll keep up to date with all the stuff that we're doing. Make sure you check us out on Discord, where anybody over the age of 18 is invited. We have moderated discussions on men and men's mental health daily. We're growing. We have people all over the country, all over the world, and it's been really exciting. And if you want to be a part of that, the link for that will obviously be in the show notes, not bio. Is that everything, Jeff?
That's everything. We covered it.
Okay.
You
Cool.
can
One of these
support
times
us on
I'm gonna.
Jeff's OnlyFans.
Yes, we're getting there too. Shh.
Oh yeah,
Shh. Not quite.
that's next season.
Next season. Yeah, don't
I'm
blow
gonna
it, man.
gonna take my protein supplement to like look like I'm.
That's what
Yes.
you need the Huel for.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. For Visible Man, this is Jack Rollins reminding you that vulnerability is the ultimate demonstration of strength. Cheers.